Hey folks, Seth Campbell here with the new Segue Says podcast. This week we're once again combining present day with a great hit of the past. And these two songs are very, very different from each other, as I'm sure you'll see. The first is Born to Die by Lana Del Rey. That's our present day song. And the song from the past is Tom Sawyer by Rush. Now I'm sure your heads are already spinning. But interestingly enough, these songs both have the same root key of E, although Born to Die is in E minor and Tom Sawyer is in E major, and they're both at the same tempo. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Tom Sawyer is a little faster, I'll grant you that, but that really doesn't matter because they're very similar, and for our purposes, particularly on solo piano, it's very easy to make that switch. Now, Born to Die, of course, is a title track off Lana Del Rey's, I believe, most recent album. And it's very down and depressing, despite being musically sort of upbeat. It helps that, her vocals are kind of that strange, monotone, almost mumbling, but not quite. It goes like this. You may have heard it on the radio. I'm sure you have if you've listened to the present day radio. I'll give you the second verse into the chorus because it's a two-verse structure into the chorus. Let's see. Walking through the city streets, is it by mistake or design? I feel so alone on a Friday night. Can you make it feel like home if I tell you you're mine? It's like I told you, honey, don't make me sad, don't make me cry. Sometimes love is not enough and the road gets tough. I don't know why. Keep making me laugh. Let's go get high. The road is lonely, carry on. Try to have fun in the meantime. Take a walk on the wild side. Let me kiss you hard in the pouring rain. You're like a girl's insane. Choose your last words. This is the last time. 'Cause you and I, we were born to die. Goes into the next verse. Now, I should point something out. Usually, when I sing songs by female vocalists, I have to lower the key significantly to fit my own vocal range. That's the original key. Lana Del Rey tends to sing very low in the range for the typical female pop star of the present day. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. It's a very unique sound that she has. Now, one of the overarching points to the song that I can't really demonstrate accurately or faithfully on a solo piano, I should say, is the drum pattern, pretty much a loop, I believe, that's present through the entire song. It's like, so, 1, 2, 4. So the backbeat is very heavy. The 2 and the 4 are where the major emphasis is in this song. And you'd probably have to listen to yourself to fully understand what I'm talking about. But since I'm playing this on solo piano, that means that when I play the breakdown sections at the beginning or at the very end, I'm emphasizing that rhythm with the piano. And that's not quite how the progression goes, but it was just simplifying it to demonstrate where the accents are. Now, we're going to come back to this song in a minute. Tom Sawyer was the first track on the Rush album Moving Pictures, which they had been gaining popularity in the prog rock community, particularly since their 2112 album. They were continually on an upward trajectory, but Moving Pictures was the album that just sent everything over the top. It had Red Barchetta, Limelight, YYZ, Witch Hunt, Camera Eye, Vital Signs, and then there's, of course, Tom Sawyer, the first track. Now, it's very bizarre, and it's considered, it's kind of one of the challenge songs for a band. It's like, you know, oh, you guys think you can play challenging stuff. Well, can you play Tom Sawyer? And developing a solo piano version of it was difficult, particularly for the sections that switch between 7/8 and 6/8 every couple of bars in the middle. You know. It's a pretty complex piece. And once again, you'll probably have to listen to it yourself to fully get the gist of what I'm saying. But it's not even really a verse chorus, so I'm going to play you once through most of the lyrical form so you can see. Because I find with this song, sometimes people don't know it when you mention it, but they'll recognize it by a certain section. So this is a verse-ish. It's a difficult song to describe, as is just about anything by Rush, because they're sort of the genius of prog rock up there with Yes and Genesis for really complicated stuff.
Modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. No, his mind is not for rent. To put him down is arrogant. His reserve a quiet defense, riding out the day's events. The river. What you say about his company is what you say about society. Catch the mist, catch the myth, catch the mystery, catch the drift. The world is love and life are deep. Maybe as his eyes are wide.
The next verse section kicks in, leading to the jam. Darn it, I thought I turned my HVAC system off, but it just kicked in. Hopefully you can't hear it too much in the video. But for those of you listening very closely to the piano I was playing at the beginning of that, you may already see where the segue comes in, because this song, while it has a much more complex drum part, well, it'd have to, A, because it changes signatures, and B, because the drummer is Neil Peart, one of the, if not the greatest rock drummer of all time. Just trust me on that. I mean, the more you listen to Rush, the more you have to realize just how amazing his drums are. But one common element is that the backbeat is still very heavy, the 2 and the 4. And that is what you mainly hear at the beginning while there's this weird phase electric bass on type of sound. But so again, when it comes to replicating that on solo piano, you have to emphasize the 2 beats, so you do that just by playing E and emphasizing a higher octave E, holding an open 5th in the right hand. Now again, remember you're switching from minor to major in the segue, but this song Tom Sawyer begins without really emphasizing that it's a major. It doesn't clearly become a major until it goes. So there's a time of ambiguity, and we're going to use that to our advantage. But basically, you start out like this.
A modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
Just as I did before. So you're starting with that rhythm. Now, Born to Die, as we go back to that, basically ends on a jam of the chorus. The recording, if you listen to it, it's very string-oriented. But there are some guitars in the background as well. So the way it ends is this big, heavy jam on the strings. Messed up the chord progression there, because it changes one chord at the very end. And in the original version, everything fades out except one electric guitar. But that doesn't matter for our purposes, because the guitar is not the important part in this segue. The rhythm is. So, so you want to end on this E, but the progression ends and then begins again on this C. So basically, you just have to end the progression and go straight to E as if nothing is changing. Now, fortunately, it does that in the bridge of the song at one point. So it's not like you're doing this completely out of the blue. So it's really simple. You just cut straight to E, make sure the rhythm is established, and just begin singing Tom Sawyer. So it would go like this.
You and I, we were born to die. We were born to die.
You could actually hold the C for an extra couple of measures. Now that I think of it, this works better, because that makes it clearer that you're now landing sort of on the home.
Modern day warrior, mean stride to taste Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
There you are. I'm just realizing now that, as I mentioned earlier, Lana Del Rey is one of the lowest singing female vocalists that I know of. Second, of course, maybe to Tracy Chapman, but it's definitely in the lower range. And then Geddy Lee, who's the singer of Rush, is one of the higher vocals, and you hear it in this song. Is
What you say about society?
and he can sing that full voice, which is absolutely terrifying to me. And he can still do it after all these years. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy of songs we've got going here. Well, that will just about wrap it up for this week's edition of Segue Says. Thanks as always for watching. I will see you next week.